Knitting Daily has been sponsored in part by
Celebrity knitter Deborah Norville is back, and we're talking today about how sock yarns don't have to be just for socks. Welcome, Deborah.
I'm so glad to be back, and this has been so much fun being with you on Knitting Daily. Thank you.
Well, so tell us a little bit about sock yarn.
Well, you know, I think sock yarn is just a lousy name for a yarn because you can do so much more with it. I mean, we all love the way sock yarn feels, and we love the gauge because it's, you know, it's a fine gauge. It's a number 2 gauge. And so you think, oh, that's perfect for socks. And they do. It makes wonderful socks. I mean, this is a really great variegated yarn, and it's just a typical standard sock pattern. I think we've got the pattern on the website. But after you've made about 1 million pair of socks, no matter how many different colors of yarn, you think, okay, fine, that's it. I'm done with socks. And this yarn is just so great for so many other things. So I thought it'd be kind of fun to talk with you about maybe showing some ideas of other things that people can do besides just socks.
Well, one of the things that I love is, you know, all the wonderful colorways that there are, you know, in sock yarns, and the kind of things that you can do with modular projects, like this blanket over here.
Yeah, this is great because I've got 3 children, and one of the things that they've always had fun with is when I make projects is they'll pick the one that's their favorite color. And when you take one of these great variegated sock yarns, like this one right here, this is this wonderful kind of purpley pinky thing. You can take this, knit, crochet up a little granny square. This is the, you know, this is the thing we all learn when we first start with crocheting, is this great granny square. And then vary the colors around. You can do all kinds of patterns, but in 1 million years you wouldn't think, oh, use sock yarn for this. Most of us will say, use a thicker gauge yarn, it'll work up faster, which is true, but you won't get this wonderful sort of draping effect that you get when you use a sock yarn for something as basic as a granny square crochet.
But the finer fabric really makes it luxurious.
It makes it very luxurious, and you know, you think about it, if you did just the new solid socks that are out there, because people who are sock knitters who want to show off their prowess with great cables and designs and diagonals and things, if you could do that with this, you get something really, really terrific. Or another idea is to use sock yarn for shawls. You know, we think, oh, sport weight, that's what you would use for a shawl. But you can get some great results if you use a sock yarn. For instance, this diamond square knitted shawl over here, this is so luxurious.
Very elegant. The drape is beautiful.
It's so elegant. The drape is great. The pattern is really very satisfying for a more advanced knitter because it's got, you know, the open work and the diagonal design. But the end result, you can stop and make it a shawl, but if you really wanted to go all out, what a wonderful lap robe this would be, or afghan this would be. And in 1 million years, you wouldn't think, socks, I could do that.
And I love, again, how you're using the color to really, you know, to really accent the pattern as well.
Yeah, another thing, you know, a lot of people are into charity knitting, and one of the great things to do is to knit up little baby caps for the neonatal unit. But you wouldn't think to use sock yarn. Sock yarn is actually perfect for that, like this cap right here. Maybe a little more fashion-forward colors for a newborn baby, but it's soft. It's got just a tiny bit of wool. It's got bamboo in the yarn, so it's got this antimicrobial quality, which really makes it a good choice for a baby hat because it's soft enough that their tender skin isn't going to be irritated by it.
Well, and I love how little that hat is. I mean, you could probably get at least 2 out of a single skein.
I think you could. I know I've done a few baby hats, and I tend to use the leftover bits of my yarn. It's a great way to...
Nice stash busting
Exactly. It's a great stash busting project, and I think you could easily get 2, maybe even 3, depending on how neonatal you're thinking of with your baby caps. But, and this is another thing, talking about the baby thing, this is just a very, very simple little crocheted sweater that is so delicate, but also so beautiful because you're taking advantage of the color qualities and varieties you can get.
So you can knit or crochet with sock yarns, of course. And I mean, I love the idea of using sock yarns just for garments as well. This is very pretty.
It is very pretty, and look how fun it is. I wore my shirt tail out so you could see the fun end on this. This is just a very simple granny square. And one of the things that's kind of fun when you're using sock yarn, which is that fine gauge yarn, and you're making garments, is you can actually vary the stitches and get more shaping ability. So if you look at the one on the model there, you see on the top there near the straps, that's a different stitch. That's a double crochet. And then we've gone back out to the wider triple crochet for the body of it. And then you can go back down and do the shaping if you needed to.
Fine gauges, you can actually use the fabric to shape the
Absolutely. So you can alter your stitches. And then when you put it together, this is what really makes it. Otherwise, it's just kind of a boring vest.
So let's take a look at the technique.
Well, we've done it in the big chunky yarn because you know, this is TV and it's hard to see. It's very simple. It's a standard granny gown, and then you just make a row of double crochets on the edge, and then you do that. Whoops, missed the hole there. On all your squares, and I forget how many squares you've got, but it's on the pattern, and we've got the pattern for you on the website. And then when you've got your squares, you're just going to want to
pull it out here,
yeah,
so we can see it.
Steal the hook from there. So now we've got a row of squares and fighting yarn, and then you're just going to hook them together with.
Oh, how simple!
It is so simple. So imagine you're putting this on the base of the sweater, and then you're just going to hook it together, again with the double crochet, and you know, on TV things always mess up on you.
So you don't have to worry about seams, which is great.
You don't have to worry about seams. And you know, the great thing about all of these kinds of projects is the portability. You know, you put it in your stash, you put it in your trunk, you put it in your pocketbook as you're going around. Next thing you know, you got a garment.
And it's so unexpected and pretty in a fine gate like that.
Isn't this great? I mean, don't you want to steal this from me right now?
Well, I'll at least wait till after the segment. We'll be right back.